What's up YouTube? Dell here from Zephyr, and today it is another episode of the local experience. So I bumped into a couple of you lot at Nationals, and you said you really enjoyed this series, so I'm going to keep it going. On this one, I think I've kind of narrowed it down. So there was a contemplation between Tellers and then Shaddolls. It looks like I'm probably going to be going to Shaddolls at today's locals. I was doing a live testing of it last night, and there was a lot of decent conversation actually about it. It was like, what could we put in the last two slots of the extra deck? How did we make it effective? What does it do? Da 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 da. Now I still need to re-sleeve this because it's a bit of a mess. These are really old sleeves that need to go in the bin. It's currently at, I think I've got it close to 40. It was at 50. Let me just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, yeah. So I've got it close to 40. I still don't play full loss. I've played more of a breaker approach, and I've kind of just made it a gas build. Like, it's all about trading 1 for 1, power spells, let's go, push through, get 1 resolves, and then just kind of like steamroll advantage. So that's kind of how I've gone with the approach of it. I feel that you could very easily bump it to a 50 card build, but then you'd be adding in the Tillaments, and honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of the Tillaments cards, just in general, but also I don't think that they add, like, they're nice for a bit of grind later on, but they're not amazing turn 0 unless you hit the perfect mills, which in my opinion is not worth doing. So there's still the contemplation of the last 2 slots in the extra deck. I think as it currently stands, the last 2 slots in the extra deck are going to be Albion and Ecclesia, because someone made a very good point, is technically off of the Lev Shaddoll, you send Albion and you basically get Fawn and the Virtuous. So it's just another way to set you up for disruption. But, you know, I'll test it out, see if it works, and then kind of build on from there. Then for the side deck, I'm still trying to figure out the side deck. There's a lot of cards that I don't know what I want to do yet. I definitely want to play Lava Golem, because you can afford not to use your normal summon in this deck. I don't really want to set a Shadoll monster. That's not what I want to be doing. And because I would be siding these in, I would take out probably Mathematicians. I'd probably take out 3 Mathematicians for 3 Lava Golems. And then I've kind of balanced back out of what I was trying to do. So Lava Golem would be going for second. So would Lightning Storm, just to help me deal with spells and traps and like Floodgate-esque options. I've also got access to Illusion Gate. Now, this isn't a complete deck, like side deck yet. There's still stuff that needs to be fine-tuned down. But Illusion Gate is an option, because then I get myself a material on the field that I can then use. But also, it's just such a threatening card that your opponent has to deal with it. And then I've got 3 Dragon's Mind. Now, I actually found this really funny, is that Construct is 2500 defense. So Dragon's Mind can actually be recycled. And then as long as I've got Construct on the field, I can use Dragon's Mind. I will be using Solemn Accusation as well. So it'd be like, if I'm going second, these, and if I'm going first, it'd be Dragon's Mind plus Solemn Accusation. And then the other options that I'm considering is Judgment, DDG, and Black Goat. And then I'd be playing Trill Tactics, Thrust, and then a Harpies. So these would be more ideal for going first, but then these also bridge for going second. So going first, I can get access to these. Going second, get access to these. So it's something to consider. There's still a lot that I need to figure out on this one. I've seen a couple of side decks that people have played, and to be honest, some of them aren't that. Maybe they are environment specific, which is why I always take side decks with a pinch of salt, is that sometimes side decks aren't always as they should be, if that makes sense. Oh, I've got Harpy's Feather Dust there. I'll just swap that out. That definitely needs to be in a sleeve, not going to lie. So yeah, it's definitely stuff to consider on how I want to approach it. Like I said, I still need to re-sleeve a couple of cards. I was going to say, I'm missing dark sleeves. So we had a conversation last night about like Shaddolls being dark sleeves, and it looks like that's what won. So we're going with dark and the red 25ths rather than the black 25ths. I think it actually looks alright in the red, to be fair. So yeah. I also like this artwork of Construct. I've picked up 2 more. Just giant head Construct. I think it's pretty funny. So yeah, I mean, it would be quite funny to have the Decatron package, but then I can see that the Decatron package, you kind of add a brick in the form of the Deviati. It's nice to get that Monster Negate, because like if you hard open up Deviati, or if your opponent tries to hold the Ash Blossom or Ghost Ogre or anything like that, you then have the ability to go, whoop, nope, and then Deviati them, and a lot of people are like, What? Why are you playing that card? So that's something I want to consider. Let me try and find it, actually. I might add it to the deck box just so that I've got it. I'd rather have it on me today. Like, because trying to ask someone at locals if they've got an Infernoid Decatron or a Deviati is going to be a lot harder than... there you go, there's the rest of Shaddolls cards. Whether the Infernoid is there or not, I don't know. That'll be a lot harder to kind of complete that request, or fulfill that request, than if I'm asking for something a bit more generic. So I'll double check if it's amongst those or not. I'm pretty sure I was testing out and sided out a lot of stuff. No, they're not there. RIP. You can go over there. Which means they're around somewhere. I'll have to try and find them if I want them. I mean, I would probably only play them in a 50 card build just because it's so easy to get access to the Void, and I just quite like the idea of utilising the secondary effect of the Void. But then it'll give it to you, guarantee you more for siding out. Like, this is the other the difficulty as well. Is like, what do I side out? Like, if I'm going first, do I just remove all my breaker cards? So do I remove Fallen the Virtuous, Super Poly, and Droplet, right? And then by removing those, I would put in 3 Dragon's Mind, 3 Solemn Accusation, and then maybe the Judgment, or maybe I keep Super Poly in. Maybe. Like, I'd probably keep one of these in. Maybe Fallen the Virtuous at 2. Yeah, and then... Ooh, sorry. Yeah, and build on from there. I mean, I definitely need to re-sleeve. Probably going to re-sleeve the entire deck. I just got to decide what sleeves I want to put them in. And then I've got to fine-tune this of how I want it to go. So what am I at the moment? 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I'd be at 15 here. So I've got 3 cards over at this moment in time. And these would just be Solemn Accusations anyway. So... I don't mind that. 6 going first, 6 going second. It's a very aggressive build, like very aggressive. Because it's go first, go second. It's like if I'm confident in my ability to go first, and all I'd really be doing with Solemn Accusation and Dragon's Mind is facilitating my Winder. Like, if you're going first, Winder is the one you want to go for. You want to protect that at all possible. Not that you're just sitting on a Winder. Like, I should be able to sit on a Winder with Schism giving me the ability to get into a second Winder, which can be quite useful. I do like the idea, though, of springing a Winder on my opponent. I don't like ending my field on a Winder. I like springing a Winder on my opponent, but the downside of trying to spring a Winder on your opponent is that they can chain certain cards during the draw phase, and then you get pretty much nothing. So... I'll have to have a look on these ones. I still think Lightning Storm's quite important. And Illusion Gate. Maybe I play 2 Illusion Gate and 2 Lightning Storm and then 2 Triple Tactics Thrust. And then I could open up some space a little bit more for a guaranteed Harpy's Feather Duster or cards like that. I don't expect it to be a big locals, but I do expect there to be... I mean, they're either going to be a Fur Hire build or there's going to be a Loonlight build. And the Loonlight build was a breaker build last time I saw. Then there's either going to be Fairy Tales or Labyrinths. And then there's going to be Yugioh. And then there's going to be... Which actually, Yugioh could be kind of awkward, to be fair, not going to lie. Okay, that's kind of a cool hand. So I'm just going to do a really quick random test hand, just to kind of see. So activate this during the draw phase. Reveal Hedgehog or Squamata. Doesn't make any difference. Or does it? Squamata maybe, actually. Yeah, Squamata. Yeah, Squamata, send Grand Grignol. Add Cartasia. Actually, I don't need to add Cartasia. Let's add Albion for the draw. We'll send Squamata. Send in Squamata. Squamata's effect. Send Grista. Grista's effect to fuse. It can use Hedgehog and Grand Grignol to go into Construct. Construct effect to send. Construct sends I don't really want to go for the Beast Draw. Don't really want to go for the Wendy Summon and the Dragon Pop. Do I want to go for any of the spells and traps? Probably not if I can't get it off the field. If I can't get it off the field, which currently, currently I can, to be fair. So let's go for Lev Shaddolls Fusion. And then I'd go Albion, send another Brandon in High Spirits. There we go, send a Brandon in High Spirits. Put Branded to the bottom, draw a card, Dragon, okay. And then you'd have to use Shaddolls Fusion, fuse Hedgehog and Construct to go into another construct. Chaining 1, Chaining 2, Chaining 3 of Hedgehog. Hedgehog would add Wendy. Construct would add back Lev. And then Construct would send. Trying to think if there's anything more to send. I don't want to send the Trap. I don't want to send Aerial. I guess I just send Beast, and I send Beast. Then draw a card. Whoop, off a Beast. Broken. Activate Void Unleashing. Reveal monster in form of Wendy. Grab a spell and a trap. So we'll grab El Shaddolls Fusion, and we'll grab Schism. Discard a card. Probably Dragon on this one. No, I can discard the Schism because I'll get rid of Construct. Shaddolls Fusion these two. Go into Wendikuru. Constructs, add back the Trap. Wendy. Yeah, Trap or Shaddolls Fusion doesn't make any difference. Wendy grabs me Aerial face down. Kind of want another Shaddolls on the field before you activate this. So I've got a couple of different options here. So we'll activate Lev. I suppose this is in the new version where this works better. Is when you get Lev later and you've already gone through App Cologne, or like you don't need to use App Cologne and you don't need to use Infernal Evil. You send Albion, and then in the end phase you'll add in a Fallen and the Virtuous to this end field, which is pretty good. Because do I then just tag into a mech or mesh? I don't know where I put my extra deck. Oh, there you go. Extra deck's at the bottom of the graveyard. Duh. Let's use Lev to tag out the Wendigo to go for Shek, because then Wendikuru then lets me add any card from my grave back to my hand. So let's add back El Shaddolls Fusion. You'd set, end phase, get Fallen and the Virtuous. I could have used Wendikuru to flip this actually. Wouldn't have been the worst of ideas. Set a Fallen and the Virtuous. It's not perfect, but it's not bad by any means. So I've got Shek to negate a special monster's effect, Dragon to pop. I've then got Schism to fuse, Banish in Beast. Well, it doesn't matter what you do, but you banish Beast and one other. Let's go Wendikuru because I can get that back when this flips up. That would then give you a Winder. So that Schism's been used. If they try to out the Winder, I can very easily activate El Shaddolls Fusion, use the Winder plus pretty much anything I want to on here. I could use Aerial. Aerial would banish from the graveyard, but I kind of want to save this to flip it. So maybe use the Shek to grab me a second Winder. Or technically, I could actually go into a App Cologne as well as the other option. So I've used both of these. This would then trigger both Shek and Winder to add back to. Actually, this stays. What am I doing? That stays on the field. So then we can add back a Shaddolls fusion. We can add back an Shaddolls fusion. So we've got both our fusion spells ready to go. Opponent's still under Winder. If they try to outwinder again, I've got droplets. I've still got Fallen the Virtuous that would then send the Ecclesia. And then what would happen here is the Ecclesia, I could then banish it to recycle materials on my level 8 so I can put back my constructs. Then I'd flip this. This can then let me bring back any of my banished. So I could bring back Wendy Kuru. And then Wendy Kuru can reset this card. So this would be my only special summon. So that's fine. And then kind of build on from there, I guess. Okay, well maybe I don't need to play Freefall and the Virtuouses then, really, if I want to use the Void. But I'm highly tempted. Like, I didn't even need to use my normal summon. Like, that's what I mean. Like, if you don't see Construct, if you don't see Ecclesia and you don't see Mathematician, you don't need to use your normal summon, but you will see Void. So I can just add that monster negate to the field. I think it's actually going to be really important, I'm not going to lie. I'll have to have a look, see what I can change, see what I can adapt, re-sleeve and build on from there. So anyway, I'll show you some duels from locals. Hopefully I'll give you a little bit more this time and then save a full duel for later on in the week as well, so you can see the full action, especially with this deck, because there's not much of this deck in action online. And then kind of go from there. And then I'll give you a full recap and a breakdown of how it went and how the matchups were and everything else in a minute. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, so the first of the duels. This is game number 2. Basically just showing you the killing shot during the battle phase, activating Shaddolls fusion, going to construct, and then just swing for the final 2800 of damage. This is the third game, so just again, just show you kind of like how it falls sometimes. So he uses Q's effect, top 2, Sea Lava Golem, boom, banish, goodbye. Puts Grist at the top, passes. There is a remix, 1 set, which is Cool Tune Synchro, and then 2 other Cool Tune monsters. And it's just trying to break through with this one, but it would have been so much nicer if I had that Lava Golem. So this is duel number 2. This is up against Yugioh. So this is just showing you the normal summon of Decatron. And the idea behind this one, sending the Deviati, was that if my opponent had Spirit of Yugioh, which he quite commonly does, I was able to kind of answer it. Now, this is a back and forth slog. This was a 40-minute duel 1, which was absolutely crazy. So the idea is that Decatron swings over the Grave Squirmer, and then I've got 22 off of Winder, 25 off of App Clone, and 28 off of Construct, and then Shaddolls Fusion again in the battle phase. Now, I did double check, none of those monsters were summoned off of the back of Schism, so all completely fine on that one. And then we move into game 2, and unfortunately with 10 minutes left, by the time we do all the siding, it's just not enough. Moving into the third and final duel, so this is just to show you how to try, like, how I failed to break the field apart. So my opponent had 5 set. They activate Call by the Grave on the Wendy. I recycle the Cartasia, draw for turn, and then it's quite simply double Widow Anchor, take control of both my fusion monsters, link them both off into Camellia, and then Camellia just goes kind of full combo. So Camellia, turn that into just chaining the Shaddolls effects, but doesn't really change anything. Because then you turn the Camellia into Kagari. Kagari then adds back Engage. There's already 3 spells in the graveyard, so then you just go Engage, start to regain your resource. This is duel number 2, so the Winder in the middle has been crowned, and the second Winder is currently on the field, locking everything down from 1 special summon. So it just kind of shows you that the Shaddolls can actually present quite a powerful field, and this is played through Crown and... I solemn accusated the Widow Anchors, so he had no Widow Anchors left. They go to Hayate, but then obviously forget the Winder locks. So it's like the best thing Hayate can do is attack directly, send 1. And then this is game number 3, so this is just showing you how they use Zero's effect during their draw phase or during their turn. Tribute it off to try and special summon 2, and then chain the linkage, targeting 3 spells and 3 monsters in the graveyard to shuffle 2 back. And ultimately what's going to happen here is the 2 monsters get shuffled back off of the Lemnis Gate. Zero resolves, summoning out Ray and Rose, destroying the set card, and then ultimately that's the Sky Striker OTK, because you go Ray and Rose for 3,000 damage, then you use Ray to turn into Kagari. Kagari would then be up a decent chunk of damage, and then I believe, well, you don't even go Kagari, I think you go, well, yeah, it might be Kagari, and then you get the linkage
I'm pretty sure that's the way it goes. But either way, it was OTK Light. There was no resources left and no nothing. So we're going to go back to the lab. We're going to kind of evaluate, show you the deck breakdown, talk you through the cards I want to change, how I've changed them, and kind of go from there. So we'll be back in a second.
So as you saw, that didn't really go to plan. Just in a bit of context, I went first with dolls twice and won both times. So 100% win record going first. I went second 5 times and my win percentage was 20%. So I lost every single dice roll. I'm not saying that the dolls only perform going first, but they obviously will perform better going first. So round 1 was against Cool Tunes, so a good kind of test for the meta. They just kind of went off, and then my hand wasn't great. Like I saw way too many Shaddolls monsters, like a range of monsters with no like fusion direct spells than anything else, which kind of hurt. Game 2, Winder puts in effort. Game 3, they see my top decks. My top decks was Lava Golem, which would have been amazing. And then it was a Grista, and I already had a Grista in the hand, so they banished the Lava Golem and top decked the Grista for me, so I couldn't really do much on that one. Duel number 2 was against Yugioh, and Yugioh was the one that I went second in, and I was able to break the field, but it took me like 40 minutes to break the field. So once we got to game 3, there just wasn't enough time to finish it off. And then duel number 3, very small locals, was against Sky Striker. Again, they went first. They basically had 0 set 5, and I was like, bruh, what am I supposed to do against that? Game 2 was actually a really good game. A lot of back and forth. I think a bit of a misplay from them allowed me to win that one. And then in duel number 3, again, it was kind of like Striker set 4, and I just didn't have anything. Like I needed like a lightning storm. I needed a breaker for the spells and traps. Just didn't get it. So I'll take you through the list, just kind of show you what I've got and what I've gone with and what I would change. So for the Shaddolls, 3 Squamata, 2 Grista, Beast, Dragon, Genius, Ariel, Wendy, and Hedgehog. These 2, I kind of want to cut, I'm not going to lie. So Grista and Dragon, not cut completely, but probably chuck to the side. Because these are really bad going first, really good going second. So honestly, I would kind of want to cut. It's a 44 card list because right at the last minute I added 2 cards, and I'll show you them when I get to them. There were times where I was like, I just want 1 Grista because I kept seeing a combination of like 4 Shaddolls monsters, and I was like, this shouldn't be happening. So with no fusion spells, like this is really annoying. Yeah, but I feel that these 2 could be cut. I don't know what else you would add in. I don't think there's any other Shaddolls names that I'd probably want to add in. But it was like nice going second, destroy a spell or trap, nice going second to negate. But I feel that I could side these in because they just didn't really have a lot of utility going first for me. For the Shaddolls spells, 3 Shaddolls fusion, pretty great with the fact that I was going second quite a lot. And when I was going first, I would actually side 2 of these out because they just weren't that effective for me. But Shaddolls Fusion is what Shaddolls Fusion is. Again, just to kind of balance for when I'm going first, I could see myself siding 1 copy out or just cutting 1 copy and go for 2. And that's a little bit risky because if you go second, it is your power spell. But if I was to remove these 3 cards here and then 2 more cards that I'll show you later on, and then increase my breaker count or just plain non-engine, then I would probably be happier leaning into that a bit more. 3 Lev Shaddolls, not an issue with this card. This card's like absolutely amazing. 1 Elf Shaddolls Fusion, again, absolutely happy with this one. 1 Shaddolls Schism, it doesn't get the job done as much as it used to. Like if it resolves, great. Chances are they're going to have a Fallen and the Virtuous, or they're going to have a way to interact with it, which is what I found in the Striker matchup, is that I think both times Fallen and the Virtuous got rid of it. So, and then I've got 3 Void Unleashing. You play 3 because you want to see it, and if you see it, you're in happy days. But once you resolve it once with the Schism, the only time you'll ever be able to resolve this again is if you add the Schism from the graveyard back to the hand with one of your Shaddolls monsters, and then reveal the trap to grab you a spell and a monster. And that's one thing that I did find through playing this, is that the recurability is where the Tillaments come into play. Like the Tillaments, not only do they make your monsters stronger, but it gives you that ability to recur your resources a lot more efficiently. So that's something I would definitely consider. Unless someone in the comments knows of another card that can help you consistently recycle your resource. Yes, of course, naturally there are some Shaddolls cards that allow you to do that without issue. Like I was finding myself going, like looping back my constructs with the greatest of ease. But then there was times I was like, right, well, if I use my Winder, the only other way I can get them back is either special summoning it back with the mech or utilising Winded Kuru to put it back. And I was like, that's a little bit much. I don't want to be doing that much for it. The Void Unleashing, the last two cards that I added in right at the last minute was Decatron and Deviati. The idea was that through testing, I was like, well, I'm not seeing Mathmet and I'm not seeing Ecclesia as consistently as I like, so I have no issue putting these in. There was a time where I searched Decatron, normal Decatron, got the monster effect set up in place, and it wasn't bad. But honestly, you could cut these and not play with them. So that opens up, that takes you down to 39 cards. And then there's another card that I cut down and it opens up 2 spaces, so maybe they could become 2 full losses. So I'm just going to remove all the cards that I would keep. I don't think there's any issue with the ratios of these ones here. I'm just going to leave these to one side over here so you can kind of see the cards that I'm eyeing up of getting rid of. I like the Decatron edition because I can imagine that if I went Void Unleashing and it resolved, and then banished it straight away to get the Decatron without using my normal summon, and then normal summon the Decatron, that forces an interaction, because straight away they're like, right, if they've got an imperm, they have to use it there. Not that the Decatron can't negate a monster, but they don't know you're sending a Deviati. You could send the Anonku, and that gives you your spell and trap negate, so to each their own. For the starters, free Mathematician. I had no issue with this being my starter. I actually quite prefer it, to be honest. My other starters were 2 Blazing Cartasia with the 1 Fusion Deployment. Never saw this. Don't really mind about this. I saw Brandon High Spirits so much. So much. Basically, the way I worked it was, if I already have Mathematician, I would use Brandon High Spirits to get me into Albion, and that would basically just be a draw with a bit of extra steps. You could arguably cut the Albion in that scenario, but I'm quite happy keeping it at 1. This engine put in a bit of work for me. So I'm not too sure where I sit. Like, the Cartasia puts in a lot of work, there's no doubt about that. So having this involved is a no-brainer. Whether you need these or not is a different question, because the way that I looked at it is, yes, it was nice. With all the spellcasters you could reveal, you would send the Grand Grignol from the extra deck to the graveyard, you'd grab your Cartasia. So these were basically acting as 3 more copies of either a upstart with extra steps, or they were becoming 3 more copies of Cartasia, which gave you that normal summon that you could utilise. Then for the breakers, I went with 3 Super Polymerization, saw it once but never needed it. 3 Fallen of the Virtuous, I could quite happily play this at 2, to be honest. So that's another space that you open up. Happy with 2. The idea is that you'd use your Lev Shaddol, and your Lev Shaddol would send the Albion, and then the Albion sets you out of the Fallen. So it's like, what I love about the Lev Shaddol is it's like, I'm going second, send Natis to destroy a card. I'm going first, send Infernoid Evil to get you your Void Unleashing. I don't have a Shaddol monster, so you send the App Clone to get you the add and then the discard, because then you go App Clone, add Squamata, discard Squamata, Squamata's effect send Grista, and then fuse into your Mesher. And then Albion was another option. It's like, right, well, if I want the recurable Fallen of the Virtuous, you'd send this instead. So I could quite happily play 2 of this. And then I was on 3 Forbidden Droplet and a Foolish Burial, because Foolish Burial is kind of like everything you need it to be. And then Forbidden Droplet, I never saw it. But arguably, I feel that it's a 44 card deck, right? So if I cut these 4 cards out, I'm back down to 40. Then I would cut these 2 cards, and then the question becomes, what do these 2 cards become? The Forbidden Crown's not the worst idea, but I do feel that you're either going to lean into breakers, you're going to put in 3 more Chummy Forloss, and you're going to go up to 41, or you're going to lean into more consistency cards. Like, there's a couple of times today where I was like, right, an Ash would have been quite helpful here, or a Ghost Bell would have been quite helpful here. But again, that's really kind of situational. So I didn't mind the breakers, and there was kind of like a mixed feeling. When I was able to go, cool, I've got no interactions, and sat back and let my opponent just play, it was nice. I didn't have to worry. I was like, I know what your infield's going to be more times than not, and if I see Super Poly, Fallen of Virtuous, or Forbidden Droplet, I'll be in a good position. But then there were too many times where I was sitting there like, wow. So like, round 1, fine. I was like, cool, all right. And then they just got the better options. Like, definitely in Call Tunes as well. When they see your hand, they're like, right, I don't know what to play around. And then they get rid of your top deck. It's kind of like a little bit more. But then come like round 3, when I'm opening up my hand of 5, my opponent gets to go, like, my opponent wins a dice roll, I open up my hand of 5, they're going first. And I'm like, yep, got no interaction, sit and just like let it happen. It was a bit more painful than I would have liked. But I don't know what you would put, because like, even with an Ash Blossom, that doesn't do the job for you. You could arguably put Spark in here, but you've got an Earth monster, so you can't really utilise Spark to its max potential. So I don't know, to be completely honest with you, what those last 2 cards would be. Maybe a Furloss, just to kind of help. I suppose if I'm going second, you'd probably play the new pot the new pot card. Is it Pot Sloth? Maybe, but anyway. For the extra deck, 3 Construct, like no issue with this one, like definitely a 3 of. 2 Winder, more so the fact that the deck is so the extra deck is so tight is to why you wouldn't play 3, or I don't play 3, but I really like it. There was times where I put double Winder up, because what I found is, and this is kind of how you need to be, like how you adapt to be a modernized Shaddolls player, is that 1 Winder doesn't win you the game anymore. It's not a guarantee. So you need to be able to go first Winder off of like an El Shaddolls Fusion, and then you need to make the second Winder off of Schism. So in the Cool Tune matchup, making Winder off of Schism was actually really helpful, because I was able to send like Magnamut and Harmonia. But yeah, Winder puts in a bit of work. Then we've got the 2 of the Mesh. Again, 2 I think I'm absolutely happy with. I don't think I need 3. I don't know where you would find the space for 3, if I'm being honest with you. Like, the only other one you would probably cut would be the Shekanaga, which I don't have any issue cutting this. This could become a 3rd Winder if I needed to. But I do like the idea of using it as a Shaddolls and an Earth monster. Sometimes it comes up. With the Gristar, it can be quite useful. Wendikuru, I really like this card. It was obviously not that great in the Sky Striker matchup, because Book and Moon in their cards is not that effective for me. In a Cool Tune matchup, it could be quite useful. 1 App Cologne. I thought I would miss 2 App Cologne more than anything, but I didn't, because, like I said, it really kind of came down to, if I needed a Shaddolls monster, I sent this off of Lev. If I didn't, and I sent any of the other targets, I could then use this as an actual summon target to negate, which is quite useful. Speaking of other targets to send off the Lev Shaddolls, you've got your Infernoid Evil, which is just searching out your Void Unleashing, Natis to destroy a card, Albion to get you Fallen of the Virtuous, and then Ecclesia to follow up with the Fallen of the Virtuous to then be able to shuffle back. And what's actually really cool is this lets you shuffle back your Construct as well. So that's how I could keep looping the Construct back, which is really nice. And then the final card was the Grand Grignol. So the only other card that I'd consider is take out the Shekanaga, and I'd play a Praskinian, because I quite like the idea that a Praskinian can revive one of my opponent's monsters. Again, in certain scenarios, it's better that way, but because this one would more times than not be sent with Branding High Spirits. So now I'm kind of like contemplating, do I not want Fusion Deployment? I just play 3 Cartasia instead, and then send this off of Branding High Spirits, and then I've got that interaction set up in the graveyard. So that's something that I might consider, and then Shek is probably the closest card of all of these that was the least effective to get rid of. Sometimes this one isn't, your Infernoid Evil isn't as effective, because you just have more ways to naturally get to your Void Unleashing, but again, there'll be those times when you're like, I really wish I had an Infernoid Evil. So, but if you're like, oh, I can't play this deck because I don't have Infernoid Evil, well, then you don't need Infernoid Evil to play the deck. Moving on to the side deck. So for the side deck, I went with 3 Solemn Accusations and 2 Dragon's Mind. Now, the reason I went with Dragon's Mind is because I was like, I'm more times than not ending on a Construct, and Construct has 2,500 defense, which is pretty funny. So I never saw this. I saw Solemn Accusation once, put in a bit of work. I rate this card so highly. I think this card's so good. And then other cards to help me go first was Different Dimension Grounds and the Black Goat Last. These are basically cards you just add to your end field with your Winders, and it just makes it even more awkward for them to kind of break the Winder. To help me get to these, and for going second as well, is 2 Triple Tactics Thrust. But obviously going second, this can also get you into your Shaddolls Fusion. And then it would ultimately end up getting me into more of my go second cards, stuff like Lightning Storm and Harpy's Feather Duster. So make of it what you will. And then 3 Lava Golem, because when I was siding cards out, usually you could take out the Decatron, the Deviati, you could reduce either the Math Magician or the Cartasia, and then you could have in the Lava Golem. Like I said, the one time that this would have been absolutely clutch, it got revealed off the top 2 and my opponent banished it, which is fair enough. Like, if you see a Lava Golem, you're banishing it. But I never put this in against Sky Striker, wasn't worth it. In the Yubel matchup, obviously I never got a chance to play game 2, but this did go in. And yeah, in the Cool Tune matchup, this goes in, and it's like, cool, try and lava them. But yeah, kind of is what it is. Just sometimes it's just not your day. It's as simple as that. Like I said, when you're going first with this deck, like, you play it correctly, you set up double Winder. You don't end your field on double Winder, because it can just be outed by certain negates. But what you want to do is you want to set yourself up with 1 Winder. Obviously, still work your way through constructs and everything else. You'd have your Winder, your Schism, your El Shaddolls Fusion. You'd still sometimes end up on a Wendikuru or a Shekanaga. Or sometimes you can leave this on the field because it just makes it really awkward for your opponent to deal with. But Yubel was playing Lynx, no effect. Would have been good against Cool Tunes, and Sky Strikers, again, no effect, because they would just Widow Anchor it, or not Widow Anchor it, sorry. They can just out it with 0, because it's a Link monster, not a level or rank. So, give and take. It definitely needs more play. Like, I can't be like, this deck's terrible after playing 3 games with it in person. But there are definitely cards that I would consider cutting down on, and then open up some space a bit more. Maybe I take these 6 cards out and I put in the 6 T-Element cards, but I wasn't the biggest fan of the T-Elements package, if I'm being totally honest. Field Spell's nice, makes all my fusion monsters stronger, but I don't think this deck struggles with that. The only reason that making your fusion monsters stronger makes it awkward for your opponent is for them to try and out the window. Other than that, I don't think there was really anything else to kind of take away from it. So, anyway, there was a couple of good duels. I'll see what I can get edited and put the full duels up for you. So, like, the Sky Striker one was actually a really good duel. And then maybe the Cool Tune one as well, just so you can kind of see how the deck beats Cool Tune. Could be quite good. I'm not too sure I'll put the Yubel one up, because that was like just a 40-minute slog of a game. A lot of grinding back and forth, a lot of kind of control. But then it did show the control aspects and the grind state of Shaddolls as well. So, either or. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you don't have any questions at all, by all means, please put in the comments down below. I don't know what I'm going to do for the next local experience, because it's technically Sneak event weekend. But I'll be very surprised if I can get hold of any of the new decks by then. Like, I think the only one that I'd be close to getting to play would probably be Clown Crew. Just because I need 2 Link monsters and a trap card, which is 2 supers. But I think everyone's going to be after the Clown Crew cards in general anyway. But yeah, that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I know there's some work to be done on this one, but this is what I like about the local experience, is it gives me the opportunity to give you a full breakdown of the deck, what went right, what went wrong, what I'd want to change, show you a demo side deck and kind of everything else in between. For now, as absolutely always, have a very good rest of your evening. Stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.